Hello everybody, my name is Ann Théato and welcome to the Psychic Matters podcast, episode number 36. This is what is coming up.
So I was in ICU 3 days. So each night I had a more profound experience. I was certainly leaving my body. It was as if I was going up into deep inner space. It was very angelic. I saw colors I've never seen before, very, very profound. They were showing me a different way to heal folks and change things. Infinity, of course, is an 8 laying on its side, and Spirit said take off the back left end, and you wind up with a little fish, and not the sharp-nosed Christian fish, but rather the fish that a child might draw with a crayon in their fist. It looks like a Tai Chi or a yoga move for most people. The bottom left of the tail I referred to as earth negative weakness, and so you would just release something that was negative. And the top left of the tail is heaven positive strength. We just want to help folks knock down the negative, download more positive, and as fast as things come upon people that might be negative, you can also delete it out and change it. And so that's what it's all about, is change.
Before we begin, I just want to ask, are you enjoying this podcast? I think the answer is yes, as we have 51 5-star reviews and we're listened to in 71 countries, 1,885 cities and towns worldwide. And the Psychic Matters podcast is one of the top 2.5% most popular shows out of 2,393,928 podcasts globally. It is an extraordinary achievement in only 1 year of existence, and it's all thanks to you, the listeners. I really want to grow this podcast in order to help more people and reach the ears of all those who need guidance, comfort, or advice in matters of spirituality. But in order to keep going, I really need your help. Please consider supporting the Psychic Matters podcast on Patreon. I don't have a team behind me. I do everything myself.
Huzzah!
Finding and interviewing my wonderful guests, sound editing, mixing and producing, creating artwork and trailers, and running the Facebook page and social media. And each episode takes 3 or 4 days to produce, to research, record, edit, transcribe word for word, create resources and links for each episode, etc., etc., etc. on my website. Now, the great benefit of joining us on Patreon means you will not only be helping to pay for the podcast overheads and equipment. In return, you'll receive a monthly channeled message from Spirit, weekly Rahani healing, discounts on my events and workshops, monthly draws for one of my free past life regression or time travel readings, and an opportunity to get exclusive private coaching with me. If you have a spare £5 or more per month, I would love you to become a patron of the Psychic Matters podcast. Any amount, big or small, will directly help and support the production of the Psychic Matters podcast. It will, as I say, help to pay for the podcast overheads, purchase new equipment. This mic stand, for instance, is on its last legs. If you could see it going up and down like a seesaw, you'd feel very sorry for me indeed. and your patronage will also help support the work that we're all doing out there for the benefit of all. So if you want to find out more, visit patreon.com/psychic matters. Meanwhile, it's back to this week's episode. My guest this week believes that all change begins and ends with us working on ourselves, and that everything is energy. He's going to teach you how to get a clear answer on whether your energetic frequency is vibrating at a yes or a no when testing out a specific statement of belief. Once you have that information, you then have a direction to create change. The real power, my guest says, is not in asking the question. It's in the ability to actually change beliefs by shifting the energy. And he has developed and teaches a proven method for creating change made simple called My Liquid Fish. I'm joined in the Psychic Matters studio today by a renowned medical intuitive, spiritual life coach, and master of a wide variety of healing modalities, including Reiki healing, theta healing, reconnective healing, and matrix energetics. This man has taken all of his knowledge gained from both the physical and spiritual realms and created a method of healing which produces profound transformational changes fast, a method he has termed the liquid fish. Jimmy Mack, welcome to Psychic Matters.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Look forward to it, and we'll stir up all we can. I'm thrilled to be with you live today and also to have some other folks to work with. That's fabulous.
Exactly. And it's wonderful to have you here. We have Leslie Malone, who's joining us as well, psychic medium, and psychic medium Tyrone Cusack. So we're all together, the four of us. Leslie and Tyrone have very kindly agreed to join us for some of the things that we might be covering in this episode. So, Jimmy, where should we start from? I know that you've done all of these different healing modalities, and some of them I don't even know what they are. Where would you like to start?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I would just jump right into, my 1 minute story, since we have the time, is I grew up Episcopal, was an acolyte, that sort of thing. Did a lot of, I was really into astrology, numerology, all that, the intuitive realm. I love the intuitives and the folks like you have on today as co-hosts or guests. And that was always fascinating to me. So I did take a lot of healing modalities. You've named some of them, of course, theta healing, reconnective healing, matrix energetics with Richard Bartlett, Ewan method, access consciousness, and on and on. And I really sat at the feet with a lot of masters and figured out a lot of cool things. But then what took off in a whole nother direction was having a near-death experience. And I got really sick. I was in South Florida at the time, and they took out my gallbladder, which was fine, but they about killed me. They gave me too much anesthesia. So I had full-blown clinical pneumonia. And I always tell everybody it's funny, but it's never a good sign when a bunch of doctors pile into your little room where you're hopefully recovering. And if the heads of the departments of all the different doctors pile in your room, it's really bad. And I even said to them, you guys must have really screwed up. And I said, they said, why do you say that? And I said, because there's no students with you. And it was a teaching hospital. So I thought it was funny. They didn't think it was very funny, but that's okay. And the one surgeon said to me, we're not sure what happened, this, that, and the other thing. And I said, well, what do you want to do? And of course, I'd been intubated, so I couldn't even hardly speak over a whisper. And he said, well, we can monitor you here, leave you in this room, or take you to ICU. And I said to the surgeon at the time, young guy, I said, pretend I'm your favorite uncle, your best friend, your brother. And he said, I'd put you in ICU. And I said, okay, let's go. Let's lead the way. So I was in ICU 3 days straight. And every night, after midnight or so, I was coding out. The only thing that brought me back was nurses. There's no doctors around the, ICU at midnight, 3 a.m. kind of thing. So that was very profound. So each night I had a more profound experience. I was certainly leaving my body. I tell people if they want to look it up, it's pretty cool, but you can go to Google the images of the Hubble Space Telescope, deep inner space. So that's the kind of thing I was going up into. I think everybody's got a different, unique experience when they go through that. You can't expect the boy in the jungle of Africa you meet Jesus at the gate. It's not going to happen. It might be their unique experience, and it might be him riding an elephant into some beautiful jungle, whatever. So that was mine. It was as if I was going up into deep inner space. It was very angelic. I saw colors I've never seen before, very, very profound and mystical, magical. And so each night I had a different experience, working on a book about all that. But they were showing me a different way to heal folks and change things. And so that's how that all came about. And the basic piece is infinity, of course, is an 8 laying on its side. And Spirit said, take off the back left end, and you wind up with a little fish. And not the sharp-nosed Christian fish, but rather the fish that a child might draw with a crayon in their fist. So just very flowing. And the simplest way to tell folks is anything that is, it looks like a Tai Chi or a yoga move for most people. At the bottom left of the tail, I refer to as earth negative weakness. And so you would just release something that was negative. And the top left of the tail is heaven positive strength. And so we're bringing those things in, which we do not have. And most people, we'd love for them to be able to use a pendulum. This is heavily laced in muscle testing, applied kinesiology, dowsing. So to really have it super effective for you, most people would know how to use their fingers and get yes or no, weakness or strength, like that, or like this, let's say the two little circles, or a pendulum, or standing sway testing. So for the folks here today, we'll have them stand so they can feel it. If they use a pendulum, that's fine too. And all we're doing at the end of the day is measuring the energy. And all of us have had Reiki and all these different things, that certainly are on this program. And I really love all that energy work and all of it. But often you get off the table and go, well, that was cool. I'm just not sure what happened, right? And this is a way of measuring that. You can actually measure things. You can feel things coming and going. It's a different experience, very profound. And believe me when I say, the last thing after doing all those different modalities, I was fine where I was at. I had a roaring practice. I did great. The last thing on earth I wanted to do is bring out a new healing modality or method or technique to the world. It's like, oh my gosh, right? You shake your fist at God kind of stuff over that, right? So now I've come to peace with it. I'm really at a place where it's like, hey, it's out there if you want it. It's open access, if you will. It's worldwide. We have practitioners around the world now that are doing it. And I still stay really busy, of course. And we just want to help folks knock down the negative, download more positive, and as fast as things come upon people that might be negative, you can also delete it out and change it. And so that's what it's all about, is change.
Eye-Opening Moments podcasts are real-life stories of adversity, encounters, and perspectives. They are moments that can lift your spirits, give you some food for thought, or move you. For the introspective mind that likes to reflect, discover, and find solutions or meaning in a complex life, listen to Eye-Opening Moments podcasts.
Okay, so before we go on, I know that your sound is a little bit echoey and wow.
Oh, is it?
Wow.
So maybe it's at your end. It happens a lot with me, though, Zoom and Skype. A lot of times it'll sound like choo-choo trains and submarines, and that is really, I figured out over time, the bandwidth of what we're cramming through energetically. And so it's almost like it can't handle it.
And it's interesting because before I began, my equipment was starting to go wrong. Everything went wrong and I had to change computers altogether. So
right.
It's interesting, the energy. Jimmy, you spoke about a couple of things that I wonder if you could make a little clearer. One, you said they were showing me. Who's they and what are they showing you?
So my piece is more the energy. The biggest, easiest way to tell folks now is it's more like Holy Spirit, or the energy underneath the dove's wings and the wind. That sort of thing is really what we're tapping into. At the time, it was more beings standing behind me, giant tall beings. Everything was really benevolent, loving, kind. It had a good feeling to it. It wasn't in any way dark. But I think we have stuff that hangs out with us all the time. Can be guides, can be the angels, your spirit guides, loved ones in spirit. We just invite them all. It's usually the room is packed with different flavors of people. And as long as they're good, it's like, hey, pile in, help us out,
Fabulous. And then you spoke also about a test for strength where you put your thumb and index finger in a circle on both hands looped together. How does that work? Could you explain that? Because it's hard for people listening, it's hard to see what that looks like.
Well, they can go to, jimmymackhealing.com or YouTube or anywhere and look up applied kinesiology, muscle testing, any of those things. And that's really going to help them. But you're just looking for strength or weakness. Like if I go and I use my fingers like this, okay, and I stick, it's as if you do the okay sign. And then we do another okay sign inside of that. And anything that is positive, it won't break through. But if it's negative or weak, it's going to break through. That's the easiest way to tell folks.
So what you're doing there, as I'm watching you, is you've got your thumb and forefinger together in one hand, and then you've got the same thumb and forefinger interlinked, and then you're trying to pull them apart.
Correct. Yes. And you have to be subtle about it. I tell everybody, they're so funny when they first start. They're like looking at it and moving. It's like, no. Put it in your lap and feel it. Come to terms with feeling it. And if you do that, like your name is Ann, you'll feel it strong. But if you say my name is Freddie, it's going to break through.
Yes, it does. I've just done that in my mind as you were talking. It's amazing.
Yes. And it is wild. And then there's plenty of people that'll use a pendulum, bobbers, dowsing rods they used to use to find oil or water. And so wherever those rods crossed, that's where they would dig for the oil or water.
Okay, and so talk us through then one of your practices, how we can release negativity and bring in more positive things into our life.
So why don't we grab somebody to work on, and we'll do that, and we can show people. How about that? Hi, Leslie.
Hi, Jimmy.
How are you?
I'm fine. It's lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you as well. Do you use a pendulum, or have you used muscle testing at all?
Pendulum I have. I've not done muscle testing.
Oh, fabulous.
I just had a
okay. Oh, we're going to go wild then. That's awesome. So what I want to do is clean up your pendulum and you at the same time so we can get some really good information. Yeah. So take your pendulum, put it in a pocket or somewhere where you can't see it, but on your body. You're going to stand up and face due north, and we're going to clean you up at the same time and clean up the pendulum. I doubt it's going to take much, but if you stand up and face due north.
This is north.
Okay. So it's going to feel like pulling you forward for yes, pushing you backwards for no. And if you just go simple and say, my name is Leslie, you'll feel the pull forward.
My name is Leslie. Oh, yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. And if you say, my name is Nemo the fish, you're going to feel the pull backwards.
My name is Nemo the fish. Oops, yeah.
There you go. I love it. So we're going to go wild here today, and we're going to clean you up and Ann and our gentleman guest as well, all at the same time. We're going to run through you, Leslie, and change everybody in a good way. So start with I am clear. See if you go forward, back, or in between I am clear.
I am clear. Well, I'm not, because I've gone back.
Going back. Okay, so all I'm going to do is fish that out and release it, whatever that is, and it's going to pull you forward to yes. And I just changed it.
I'm sort of rocking backwards and forwards.
Yep. Rocking backwards and forwards is good, and then it'll pull you forward for a yes.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Awesome. And the second one's called I am unclear.
Okay, do I say that?
Yes, I am unclear.
I'm unclear. I'm rocking backwards and forwards.
Outstanding, and that's the way it should be. And I call that alien versus predator on the back step, so you don't have that, which is a dream. And the first one is us clearing you and the pendulum of curses, spells, and hexes, and a long list of horrible things that we don't want to have. And the third one's called I am running forward.
I'm running forward. Yeah, I went backwards there.
Okay, so we're going to release whatever that is. I'm fishing it all out now for you, and then it'll drop you forward to a yes.
Okay.
And there you go. Feel it going forward now?
Yeah, how weird. Yeah.
Outstanding. All right. What would you grab, Leslie, to change or have different? Can be body, mind, spirit, relationships, money, work, job, career. What do you got going on? Health stuff?
I have arthritis, health stuff.
Arthritis. Okay, so we'll show folks how that works. And to me, arthritis drops down into stiffness and stiffness of thought. It isn't even you, of course. It would be lineage. It's not your mom's side. It's your dad's side. But let's just own it first. I have arthritis, and it'll find the computer file where it is. It's going to pull you forward.
I have arthritis. It's pulled me back.
Yeah. Well, it's gone now. That's funny. Let's do, I've learned all the lessons I needed to from arthritis.
Do I say that?
Yes, I've learned all the lessons I needed to from arthritis.
I learned all the lessons I needed to from arthritis. Okay, so I went forward.
Outstanding. And then being caught up in arthritis still serves me.
And then being caught up in arthritis still serves me. I went forward.
Okay, so I'm going to release you out of the service of arthritis, and all I'm doing is fishing it out for you right now. It'll pull you straight back when it releases.
Yeah.
There you go. And that's us energetically taking you out of arthritis. I don't get arthritis, that strong with you. Certainly it's stiffness of joints and things. And when I tap into it, bone, muscle, ligament, tendon, joint, what a shock. Cartilage, fascia, it's all joint pain. So I would jump right to that, and let's delete that out. I have joint pain.
I have joint pain. I went forward.
There, yes. And so we're going to release all that out. It's going to pull you back when it releases.
Okay.
There you go. And if you say it again, it should pull you straight back. I have joint pain.
I have joint pain. Oh, yeah. Can you see me wobbling?
We sure do. Pulling you back, though, and releasing. I love it. Make sense?
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's have you sit down and we'll play with the pendulum.
Get it out of my pocket.
I love it. So that's all cleared up too as well.
Thank
And it doesn't matter to me what your yes or no is, but you'll be able to measure the energy and watch the jump. So grab something else you'd like to work on. Again, can be any subject you like.
Okay, so we're just coming out of lockdown, and I've had a year indoors, basically only working online. So I want to get really busy back out in the real world.
Okay, so you don't even test strong for that, but let's make the statement. It's safe and comfortable for me to get really busy back out in the world. See if you get yes, no, or in between.
I get yes.
Outstanding. And that's for you because we changed it. So if I go back even days ago, you'll see the no.
Oh, it's changing, yeah.
Isn't that funny? And so if I jump you to right now in time, now it's going to go back to yes.
I'm back.
For those who can't see this at home, because I'm watching this on the Zoom screen, Leslie's pendulum is going one way, stopping and going back the other way. It's amazing.
Right. And we're jumping over the pond, so you're not in person or right next door to me. So there you go. But that's how fast it goes. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So let's go even bigger, Leslie. Let's just open up some attraction and good fortune for all three of you here today. So good fortune flows in, around, and through us now. See if you get yes, no, or in between.
You're saying yes, but it's doing a bit of drilling.
Okay, I'm going to do it even stronger for you. I'm going to bring it in from the heavens. You're going to watch it jump to even stronger yes.
Cool.
Is that your yes, Leslie? The way it's going backwards and forwards?
Backwards and forwards, and round is no. So this is my yes.
Perfect. It's a strong yes.
So you see how it's stronger now. And that's us changing it. Excellent. And when you think of clients, and we love clients, don't get me wrong, but, you know, what is your type of client? What would you like to see more of? In other words, couples, singles, you do work, job, career stuff, a little bit of everything.
I like to see more clients with a nice high energy, nice people.
Okay. Well, let's check that out. Let's see if you're on track for that. Safe and comfortable for Leslie to attract more clients with a nice high energy.
Yeah. Cool. Look.
And we're going to bring in even more for you. And I just shifted it, and now it'll go bigger.
Just to let people know who are listening what is happening is as Jimmy is literally moving your hand forward and making the sign of the fish, the pendulum is swinging really strongly backwards and forwards, and that is Leslie's yes.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And I don't even have to know what the yes or no is. You're measuring that energy. I like pendulums, but it's almost like a rain gauge or a thermometer. It's just a little useful tool to measure that energy, and then you can notice the difference, the increase, decrease, what have you. Let's think of something you'd like to get rid of as well, Leslie. What comes in over here, at least, it's the COVID-19. We call it the COVID-19 excess pounds, right? Of everybody sitting around for a year. So what comes up that you'd like to get rid of or change?
Well, I didn't gain any pounds over lockdown, which is good. But I would like to get rid of, in our field, sometimes we get quite a lot of jealousies and spiteful people, and I don't like to deal with them. So I like them gone.
So I don't get jealousy as much as spiteful people as a yes, and you'll measure the yes right now. So we're going to release spiteful people and even jealousy out of your field. You're going to watch it release. And then it would be spiteful, jealousy, people are in my field. It's going to jump to a no, whatever your no is.
There it goes. Look.
Talk us through what's happening, Leslie.
So it's going round and round, which is my no now.
Perfect.
And it'll get bigger, bigger, bigger.
Sure.
It's really getting
There you
bigger.
go.
A much bigger circle. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And I'm so trying to keep my hand dead still.
It won't matter. It's all good.
Well, I want you to see my hands dead still and not moving.
Yeah.
It's going back now. Look.
Yep. And it'll slow down and stop when it's done. There you go.
And it is
Back
slowing
to
down.
neutral.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Cool. Thank you, Jimmy.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That's amazing. Do you want to do something with Tyrone just to try
Sure,
out?
absolutely. Please.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hi, Tyrone. How are you, buddy?
Good, thanks, and you. Very nice to
Good.
meet you.
Nice to meet you. Happy to talk to you live. So we got you cleaned up as well already, and kind of the...
I was just watching that whole thing unfold with what you were doing with Leslie was just so incredibly fascinating. I did partake in a bit of it. I'm sure you saw. So I'm open to wherever you would like to go.
Good. Well, you tell me, what would you like to work on, change, or have different?
I think discussing with Ann previously is I'm personally currently working on a couple of projects at the moment. And what I'm finding, I guess the question is there's been an element of sort of an analysis paralysis or perfection paralysis that has sort of made its way into my experience. And it seems to be increasing to a point where it's somewhat debilitating. So I'd like to know
that's really
why that's
strong
happening
for you.
and how I can move past that.
Yeah, let's get you out of that. Go ahead and stand up. And
Cool.
all we're going to do is have you face north, and you'll feel the drop forward when we find that little computer file on analysis paralysis. I love that. What a great analogy. There it is. So all I'm going to do is fish it out for you. Yeah, we're going to release it, resolve it, delete and erase it, disentangle it all out now. It's going to pull you back when that leaves. There you go.
Okay,
So if you say it again, it's going to pull you backwards to no, analysis paralysis. There you go. So to go deeper in that for you to really make a difference, there's two little pieces I would do. It wouldn't matter if it was migraines for people or work, job, career, or anything else. These are the two little extra pieces I would do. And the first one would be, I've learned all the lessons I needed to from this. And so in this case, it's a negative thing or analysis paralysis. You can remain standing because we're going to check it. Yeah. So it would be, I can say it for you. They hear me. So it's, I've learned all the lessons I needed to from analysis paralysis. And we'll see if you go forward, back, or in between. So it's a no. So all I'm going to go to do is go to the heavens. And have you learn all the lessons you ever need to from analysis paralysis. And then it's going to pull you forward when it comes in. There you go.
Oh, that was
I know, it's wild. It's hard.
That was a big pull forward.
It was a big pull forward.
Yeah, it certainly was.
You had to take a step. That's awesome. And that's us going to the heavens and downloading for you, Tyrone, that piece. And the next one would be being caught up in analysis paralysis still serves me. And it's no now. So that's really good. So if we go back a few days ago, here's a few days ago to pull you forward to yes, when you were caught up all in it. There you go.
It is, yeah.
Right. And see, and this is how we measure it and figure out it's gone. So if I flash you back to right now, it's going to pull you backwards now. And that's how we know it's changed and gone.
He's just been pulled backwards very strongly.
Yeah, very strongly, yeah.
Love that. What are your projects? I mean, my mother would say you don't have to tell it all, but tell me what projects you're working on, and we'll certainly tell you what's strong, what's weak, what's happening.
It's a lot of content work.
Okay.
I can't disclose too much, but it does involve a lot of
content.
No,
that's okay. Product, service, whatever. And so we're just building that up for you. At the end of the day, all we care about is knocking out the negative and downloading more positive so that you got some wiggle room to continue on. So we're just saying to Spirit, hey, show me and tell me beyond all knowing it could have only come from you. And what happens is over the next days and weeks for both you and Leslie, in other words, it would be like a strengthening. So the easiest way to tell folks is you've seen those little kites they put little candles in at night, and they let them go. They look like little box kites floating up to the sky.
Yes.
And my Jewish friend's joke is, he says, I think not only do they hear your prayers, they actually do something about it. And that's his back-fisted joke of, that it worked. And so that's what we're offering up. And so it's going to change, and it's going to morph, and it's going to be different. And that's how we know something has changed. And only you're going to know after we hang up today how things have improved. But, as an intuitive like you and Leslie and Ann and everybody else that's pretty much in the field, you're really going to know. I mean, you're going to, it'll tap you on the shoulder, and you're going to go, oh my gosh, it's because Jimmy and I did that, 5 minutes worth of work that just showed up out of the blue. And you can't make it up. It's just amazing, So I'm still like a little kid too, believe me, playing in it.
And so, Jimmy, how can people at home, can they do this for themselves? I mean, you're working on these guys here. How can they do it for themselves at home to work through their own issues?
Sure. They can. And everything is open source. I've got YouTube. You can go to jimmymackhealing.com. At least sign up for the newsletter. It's all free. And we stay in touch with folks every week via the newsletter. There's affirmations in there. There's video. There's audio. There's all kinds of things happening. And we also have an online course. And folks take that around the world. A lot of people, I tell everybody, if you could read at the 9th grade level and listen to the radio and watch a movie, you can pass the course. It's not hard. It's very layered, but it's just, learning how to do that. Movement similar to yoga, tai chi, qigong, that sort of thing.
Because I see sometimes you pull down the fish from the top,
Correct.
You make the loop and you go down, and then sometimes you do it the other way, from down to up. So what's the difference?
So the difference is the down part is earth negative weakness on the tail of the fish. It's negative things we're releasing that you may have. And then the positive
you pull those. Sorry, Jimmy. So you pull those negative things up from the earth, and then you send them up to the heavens.
Correct.
Okay.
And then if it's something good, if it's something good you do have, we don't mess with it, But if it's something great that you want and you don't have, then we're going to the heavens and we're pulling it in.
I see. That's fabulous. Thank you for explaining that. That's
sure.
Really useful. And
Absolutely.
Then when you're working with Tyrone and Leslie, you say to them, I can hear when you say that, I can hear this. What is it you hear, or what is it you're feeling when they're saying certain sentences?
It's more intuitive than anything else. It's the soft whispers. It's everything they would experience. And for everybody, of course, it's different. Some people are astrology, numerology, automatic writing, cards, listening, whatever. I just happen to have them. I have a lot of a radio 24/7 in my head, let's put it that way, that I didn't have before near-death experience. And everybody, of course, says the same thing. That's so cool. I wish I had that. And it's like, no, there's days where I wish I didn't have that. But, it's, I'll just say this, it's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot to take on. And, you just do the very best you can all the way to the door this time and help and contribute to all the people you can.
Are you reporting back to those in the spiritual realm? I mean, I guess they're watching everything, right? So you don't have to sort of go and tell them what you've been doing because they know. But are you in connection with them, discussing results, finding new ways to work?
I think that it's more they're in connection with me. I think their vibrations are 1,000,000 times higher than us. And so we do one of two things. We either need to speed up or they got to slow it down a little bit. And it's much harder for them to slow it down so we get it. And so it's more of we're speeding things up.
And what kind of results have your clients been having, Jimmy?
Everything from, whatever the topic is. I would say this, anything that's work, job, career, love, physical issues, illness, disease, disorder, whatever they got going on. I mean, short of rocks and moving rocks, there's energy in everything. And so all we're doing is moving that energy around, deleting out the negative, downloading the positive. I've been doing this for decades, and so the testimonials are endless and they're sweet and kind. Some of the most recent ones I've had, just to give you an example, I had a client come to me. I've never even heard of it before, but she had like stage 4 sacral cancer. And I saw her one time for an hour, and she traveled back to another part of the States. And they reported that instead of a full moon, which they had pictures from before, it had dropped down to a crescent moon size. And so very profound. And so the doctors were just dumbfounded, and they even wrote my name and all that in the medical reports. It's quite funny. And we're singing a little Jimmy Mack song, you know.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, the irony of that, we'll really laugh over, is they actually had her in some sort of study, and they kicked her out of the study because, of course, she would have set the curve for taking their, you know, medicine, right? And so nobody goes from, you know, doing okay, stage 4, to, let's say, a week or two later, stage 1. It just doesn't happen.
Interesting.
And yeah, so it was very interesting, very profound, and almost funny. And so we were excited about all that. And, you know, she sent me even copies of what they, you know, what they had written in the report. So very cool. And again, my joke on all that is your results may vary. I don't know what we're going to get, you know, but we're going to give it the college try, as we say here. And we're going to do everything we can to make things different, and never know what's going to happen. I had another cancer client, for instance, and they gave her, I think, 4 to 6 weeks to live. I saw her every week for maybe a half an hour, and she lived for another year and then passed. And she was able to go to Disney World and see the new Harry Potter thing. Isn't that funny? And that was on her bucket list, right? And so
Wonderful.
If we had never met, she had 4 to 6 weeks. Ellie hadn't even finished the Harry Potter thing yet. See what I mean?
Yeah, that's wonderful.
So who can tell? Who knows, right? But for whatever reason, she stayed around long enough to do that and, you know, do things that she wanted to do. And then she passed. Why? I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
You know, and how it happened, who knows? But we're just doing the best we can, like you, to get the word out and help all the folks we can.
That's amazing. Let me hand over to Leslie and Tyrone. Guys, do you have questions for Jimmy that you'd like to ask, having had that experience with him just now?
It's sort of strange for us because what we do is we lift our energy up and connect to the spirit world. And I'm just trying to get my head around the fact that do you not have to do any lifting of your vibration? They just like...
Correct. I don't do any of that. I'm going to do things every morning like we just did now. I'm going to clear to yes, unclear no, and running forward, and that's about it. And I see it as going to the little handheld car wash, putting in coins and spraying people down and getting them cleaned up. And like you didn't hardly need any cleaning up at all other than running forward, which is body, mind, spirit, relationships, health, and money. And so we just strengthened that a little bit and dialed in. And so it's similar to GPS. In other words, I'm dialing into you through GPS. It happens to be the ethereal world and the spirit world. And then we just start changing things on the fly of whatever you'd like to change. So that's the easiest way to tell people. But I'm in it all the time. I don't meditate whatsoever. Cam Ewan, who I had studied with Ewan Method, would say meditation, waste of time. But that's, you know, if people want to meditate, do yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, whatever their thing is, you know, pendulums, whatever their thing is, you know, good, do that. It's just I've moved past all that now to where things change a whole lot faster. And I feel like I'm in it all the time. And so I barely sleep. And, you know, we're just helping out folks and contributing all we can.
So, Jimmy, I'm a great believer in positivity attracts positivity and negativity attracts negativity. So, and I also do a few little spells and things like that. And people say, oh, do they work? And I say, if you believe they do, then yes, they do. And if you don't believe it, then you don't get the results that you want. So it's similar as well, isn't it? So would I be right?
It really is. Mm-hmm.
The positivity of like what you've done. Like for me today, I've got to tell you, my knees don't hurt sitting here now, so which is great. So I believe totally and going to stay positive with what you've done. So therefore, it's going to work really well for me.
Yes, I believe that wholeheartedly. The other thing I'd add to that is there's been plenty of people who may be non-believers, or they're architects or engineers or lawyers, and they just don't have an ounce of God belief in their body. And it still changes things for them. So regardless. And I'll add to that, Leslie, and that is the longer I've done this, it morphs and changes all the time. It gets wilder and wilder as I go along. And like just even this week, what comes through more than anything, if I gauge it out, is it's about 30% knocking down the negative, but it's about 70% downloading more positive. And that's the ratio I'm kind of in right now, if that makes sense. It's really odd, but it's almost like, yeah, we'll pal around with, the arthritis piece for a little bit, or maybe you're angry at mom or who cares what, right? And we'll delete that out, but then I'm going to jump right into the positive and have them leave with a whole lot more positive. And that seems to work.
And that's basically what we do with our readings, don't we, guys? We are installing the positivity so that people can positively change their lives and make it better, rather than look on the negative and the downside. So
correct.
I'm totally with you.
Yeah. And then again, all we can do is do the very best we can. I mean, when they leave, they're on their own, right? And so we can help them, let's say, not eat sugar, get out of that brutal, hostile relationship, whatnot, and give them that advice, give them the messages from spirit. But boy, everybody is always going to have opinions and positionality. That's it. So kind of my standalone joke is Elvis loved vanilla ice cream, and I can't stand vanilla, and so I'd have to put chocolate on there and pineapple and whatever to have vanilla ice cream. But he was Elvis and he loved vanilla. But that was his opinion and his position. And so that's okay. See what I mean? And so we still working on folks. We honor their path and whatever they're going to do. And I'm not changing things willy-nilly unless they ask for it,
And that brings me then to Jimmy. How do people, if they're working on stuff themselves using the methods that you've kindly shared in this podcast, how often do they need to do that? How often do they need to top up?
Yeah, I play in it every day. I'm not going to play in it for hours. I'll get myself where I need to be. But if, maybe breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it might be 10 to 15 seconds kind of thing. But then if something comes into my awareness that we need to change, or something's, rolling down the hill on fire, then I'm going to work on that and really address that energy, if that makes sense. And I'll tell you another thing I've been doing lately, and my friends tease me because they're like, you just tell everybody everything and all your secrets, and it's like, I don't care. I'm going to just get it all out there. Right. And because I want to help all the folks I can all the way to the door. Like, I'll clear my whole day. So I'll tune into, today is Thursday, X amount. I have to think, I'm so far out there, 29th, right? So for the 29th of April, the year 2021, I would clear that to yes, release any unclear to no, have it run forward with grace and ease, and have it unfold as we go throughout the day. And I think that my position on that, over doing that for a long period of time, is you have a whole lot less heartache. Doesn't mean you're not going to be human. Doesn't mean you're not going to have a few trials and tribulations, but it really takes the edge off of it. And so you want to clear your day. Well, we cleared this podcast and all of y'all before we even started. See what I mean? So energetically, we did that, and just for it to be blessed and to be well received, and for everybody to basically have a good time. And the more I'm in it too, and they would agree with me, Tyrone, Leslie, of course you, is they're more like puppy dogs and kitty cats. They're very loving and kind in the spirit world. They really want to help. My other funny thing to tell people lately is people are really hung up on gratitude and all that. And what's come through to me over time is it's a percentage at or about you would tip the waiter. So it might be 15, 20% of, yeah, gratitude, yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. But then the spirit world goes, okay, yeah, you're welcome. What else you got? What else you want to work on? And they're like that fast because they're going so fast, right? So I tell folks it's kind of like going through, at least in the States, we'll have drive-through bank tellers. And you put stuff in the little tube, and it goes in there and you go, and it's like you saying to the bank teller, hey, I'm so thankful for you, and I love this bank, and you guys are the greatest. And they go, oh, you're welcome. What can we do for you today? That fast, right? They want to get going. And that to me is spirit world. They're like, go, 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 go. And let's see what we can do in a positive way for any and as many people as we can, as quickly as we can.
That's so interesting.
Isn't that
it's a great
funny?
analogy, yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't ask questions anymore. There's a lot of modalities, including access consciousness, and God love those guys, and that's awesome. But to me, asking even questions will keep you curled up on the couch. And, why Jimmy, why is our joke between the staff and the girls that work support me. And so our joke is, but why Jimmy, why? It's like, who cares? Just change it, make it better.
Yes.
Don't get bogged down in all that. And so I make statements, and the statements test weak or positive. That's it. And if it's something you want and it's already positive, by all means, we're going to leave it or enhance it. If it's something positive you don't have, then we're going to bring it in from the heavens.
Perfect. And I know, just before you go, I know you've worked with Reverend Michael Beckwith from The Secret. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. I'll tell you what I can. Yeah, we did a event even for all of Agape. It was like 400 people in the audience, and I think about 11,000 live streams. So it was a pretty big deal. And we worked on even going through him live on stage to change things for people in good fortune and money. So yeah, it was a really cool event, and he's the real deal, great guy. And yeah, so it's all good. And my grandfather used to say, we're all just trying to get to the same place, right?
Yeah.
So however you get there, whatever your tool is, intuition, cards, using the pendulum, maybe you just sit and things come to you. God bless you, but whatever we got to do to get there, that's the goal. It's just to create some improvement all the way to the door. And I would say on top of all that, what I learned over time too is, from what I went through at least, is I'm no longer scared of dying. I know what's going to be next is profound and mystical, magical, cool. And I just have this American Indian drum playing in the back of my head, like, go, 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 help all the people you can, contribute all you can, do all the Ann podcasts you can. That's it. Get the word out that, hey, there is hope and things can improve.
That's wonderful. And that's what we're all in this business for, to help other people as much as we can.
Absolutely. 100%.
I know Tyrone wanted to ask something before we finish.
Sure.
I wanted to ask, obviously, the four of us are quite familiar with working with the spirit world, and we experience the information in sort of a variety of different ways. I guess my question for you is, how do you perceive the spiritual team that you're working with, and is that the same in every experience when you're obviously working with individual clients?
So, So that's a great question. I would tell you that I could work with you the next 7 days in a row, and different people and different entities show up constantly. I tell people my analogy is like going to the beach and throwing popcorn up for the seagulls. And people go, hey, come back. Was your name Tony or Roger? It's like, who cares? You threw up popcorn, one of the seagulls got it. Who cares, right? And so we want to really invite and have in the room spirits that are benevolent, loving, and kind, and really change makers. I want some change makers in the room, but there's different people show up all the time. My brother was gorgeous. He was taller than Tom Cruise, but he looked a lot like him. And he passed away, drugs and alcohol. He was 28 years old. And I wish he came to me morning, noon, and night, just because, right? But what he shows up for all the time is I'll have clients that have addiction issues. And that was his thing. And so he'll show up and I'm like, oh my gosh. Right. And then if somebody goes, oh, well, I'm just dabbling in, drugs and alcohol, and if my brother's standing behind him, that's BS, right? It's like, oh no, you're doing more than dabbling. So that gives you an idea. And so it's like, hey, and my mentor and dear friend used to say, hello, God, Lou here, but Jimmy's here, and Jimmy's here, but then you knew that. And so, whether it's your guides, guardian angel, loved ones in the spirit, I'm like, hey, go, 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 and let's see who shows up and, help us out. And just like we're throwing up popcorn at the beach, we don't care which seagull gets it. We just want the negative taken out and the positive brought in, and that's it. And just like if they whisper to you, hey, this person needs to be really careful around things with motors, or they need to be aware of by Christmas, I'm seeing car wrecks and train wrecks and whatever. It's like, hey, be super careful. And that's your duty, your sworn duty to spirit, to tell them all that. What they do with it is theirs.
Yeah.
I hope that helps.
No, that does. I just, for me, I find it fascinating because we're obviously connected in all of us in a variety of different ways. And it's always so fascinating to hear what we perceive behind the veil, because our experiences are all different. So thank you for sharing that with me.
Yes, you're most welcome. And thanks for being on today with us too, making it interesting.
Yeah, we're all fascinated. And of course, we could talk to you forever. I know you've got a very, very busy afternoon of clients and things that you have to get on and do. I just want to mention the fact that you've written these beautiful 3 books. You've got Spiritual Healing Technique, Essential Methods for Creating a Healthier Life. Then Tell the Fish, 365 Daily Inspirations and Affirmations. And also How to Heal Yourself and Others Now, Intuitive Healing and Applied Spirituality. So if somebody wanted to come along and buy one of those books, where would they go?
I would start at jimmymackhealing.com and sign up for the newsletter. They'll get a download of all kinds of free things that they could read, watch, and listen to. And even from the free download, you can figure out how to fish and do these things. If they want to go deeper, they would go to jimmymackhealingshop.com. That will have on there, we have about 30 different audio MP3s, which are clearings for everything from abuse to travel to what have you. And there's a bunch of books in there too, of course, ebook versions, and then the audio MP3s. And we also do a Zoom event every month on different topics. And so we clear everybody on the call. We actually have folks come together and they'll submit things they want to clear. And so say 100 plus of us together, it's a lot of stuff to clear, and it makes a big difference for everybody else. And then we even have a My Daily Prayer subscription. And so there's a lot of folks on that as well. And what they do is they join us every month, and they'll send a list of things for us to pray on and work on and clear for them. And so I work on that every night on their list. So a lot of different choices there. But yeah, jimmymackhealing.com is a good place to start.
That's the place to start. And you've got your YouTube channel as well, of course.
Correct. Yes. And there's endless stuff on there as well. So,
Jimmy, it's been a wild ride this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining myself. Leslie Malone, thank you for joining us. Tyrone Cusack, thank you for coming in. But most of all, Jimmy.
Thank you so much, Anne. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you. Thank you all as well. We appreciate Ann. We appreciate you keeping it out there and helping all the people you can too and getting the word out. It's fabulous. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Jimmy Mack. Well, Jimmy Mack there, everybody, with his incredible healing modality, My Liquid Fish, Change Made Simple. Do go and check out all his videos on YouTube and his website. Buy his books and join his courses. He's got lots of free stuff on his website, so don't forget to check that out and sign up for his newsletter. Not forgetting that all resources for this episode, including a full transcript and importantly how to reach Jimmy, are over on my website under podcasts. So do head over there and you can pick everything up on the show notes for this episode, www.anntheato.com. Going a bit croaky, sorry about that. Don't forget to check out the benefits you get from being a patron at patreon.com/Psychic Matters, and do consider supporting this podcast over the next 12 months. For now, I would like to wish you all a very peaceful couple of weeks. My name is Ann Théato, and thank you for listening to Psychic Matters.